Hello everyone, welcome back to Anmoll Astrology channel. Now today's video is about Sade Sati or Saturn's transit with moon in the fourth house. Okay, so let's not waste our time and just dive into the explanation. So suppose a person has moon in the fourth house. So it could actually be in any of the signs, but if moon is in your fourth house and you go through Sade Sati, that means that your Saturn is actually transiting in the third house, then over your moon in the fourth house, and then in the fifth house. So first of all, whenever Sade Sati happens for people with moon in the fourth house, definitely it's not an easy process. Why? Because already the moon is in a very watery element. This is a very sensitive moon. Moon being a sensitive itself, and also then it is in a house which is about more sensitivity, which is about more feeling things, feeling things with intensity, with depth. So that's why for people with having moon in the fourth house, Sarasati can be little transformating, but more so transformating in regards to their emotions, their mental peace. Because fourth house is about your, private space, your heart. So definitely these people are going to experience transformation related to their efforts, their skills, and also their home environment, home space, how they interact with the outer population, and also how they use their intelligence, because these are what all of these houses represent, right? So I think this is a very light color. Let me take a darker one. Okay, so when Saturn comes into the third house, so it's like it is coming 12th from your moon, and it is also coming into the third house. Third house is about what? It's about your efforts, it's about your courage. So first, what it does is it builds up that pressure or do of doing something, that pressure of feeling that maybe we are not well enough. Maybe my efforts are not adequate. Maybe my efforts are not working according to what I want. That's what Saturn in the third house when it comes for people with moon in the fourth. That is what happens. They start feeling the pressure of responsibility, the pressure of doing something on their own. And they do encounter some situations where they have to show immense courage. They have to actually go into that cold zone where they have to try depict themselves as the strongest ones. And also what it does is it not only gives you the pressure of responsibility, it can also affect the health of the mother. Now, the reason behind this is that it goes 12th from the original house of mother, the fourth house. That's why whenever Saturn comes into the 12th house, it is 12th from the moon. So the house of hospitalization and the house of expenses and house of, problems, visiting hospitals, visiting doctors and all of that. And also when it goes 12th from the fourth house, then it is again affecting the mother. It is again activating the 12th house for the mother, the hospitalization expenses, or it could even be overseas, travel. But initially, since it is Sade Sati, it has to give you something which you feel is difficult for you, which is actually burdening emotionally. So definitely it will take a toll on your mother's health. And for that, you might be concerned. And because of that, also you will have to work really hard, like your mother is not available and you have to do all the chores by yourselves self, and you also have to take care of her. So there can be numerous things that can come around with Saturn in the third house. But you know what, we are also going to consider the remedies for each and every house. So remedies, see, remedies are not always that you have to donate something, you have to do something, or you have to, get some, piece of cloth and then donate it. And it's not like that. Most of the remedies actually come in within yourself. It's by making changes within yourself. That's the first and foremost remedy you need to do in your life. So when Saturn comes into the third house, it tells that you need to mend the third house. You need to mend your efforts. You need to mend your skills. And Saturn coming into the third house at 12th from Moon, it is also going to, give you an opportunity to initiate your skills related to your passion. So if you're passionate about something, you might start your profession into that particular thing. So if you're passionate about astrology, you might want to start that. There is going to be a triggering event which is going to lead you towards that destination. So third house Saturn will make you be very disciplined with your communication. Your communication is going to suppress. You are no longer going to be a person who is just randomly blabbering all the things all the day. You are going to be very direct and very very strict with your speech, and you're not going to communicate so much. It gives such a sense of maturity with communication. It also distance, it brings in some distance with your close friends, with your relatives, with your younger siblings. And this Saturn could also actually initiate some things within your siblings life, your younger siblings life. If there is some important event that is meant to take place for them, it might also create that. Then this Saturn would first of all suppress the travel. So whenever this Saturn comes in the third house, it will suppress the travel. But when it is going to go retrograde, it is going to make your travel easier. So whenever Saturn travels into the third house, you would know that your travel is going to get delayed. So always try, whenever Saturn will go the retrograde, to in that particular year, because it does go retrograde for some time. So whenever it will go, you have to try into that period for your travel, because then your ninth house becomes highly activated, and then Saturn is willingly, it will let you travel. And also with it retro, which with its 10th aspect, it is also going to activate the 12th house. So definitely the travel can take place only when there is retrogression, right? So if you are suppose facing some delay in your travel or anything like that, this could be the reason. Then Saturn in the third, when it comes into the third house, it wants you to be very disciplined with your responsibilities. So it will give you a reality check towards what is the reality of life. See, third house is one of the most transformative houses, because it is the bhavad bhavam of the eighth house. So whenever there is a transit in the third house, it actually gives you major transformation. But this major transformation can be internally, because third house also reflects your thought process, because it is a house that can make you assume things, that can make you dive into research. So it is numerous things, but it's more so the transformation comes within yourself when it is third house. And third house is a house which can actually transform you from a hard worker to a non-hard worker, or a non-hard worker to a hard worker. So that's why third house transits play a very important role. So when Saturn comes here, it is going to initiate that. So when Saturn is going to, so for your second phase, I would say, whenever Saturn travels over the moon in the fourth house, this can actually be very heavy emotionally for an individual, because fourth house is your private space. So it's like when Moon was alone here, it was in a very comfortable zone. It's like you are in your pajamas in your bedroom, and you don't care about anything else. You're just relaxing, you are carefree, you're enjoying the movie, you're Netflix and chilling, right? But when Saturn comes in, what happens? Like an old man comes into your room. maybe your grandfather, maybe your grandmother, anyone you can think of who's a very strict person, who wants you to be even sit in a very disciplined manner. So it's like you are in a comfortable zone, but a person, an old soul, a strict individual just comes in and sits with you, and they are, and you'll feel that pressure. And by thinking of this, I actually I can remember the times I was in, college or in school. So what happened was, whenever we wanted to cheat, although I was not into cheating, let me tell you, but I did tell, I was the one who made people cheat, who used to tell the answers. But in college, I was a big cheater, So what happens, when the invigilator comes in and you suddenly become very cautious of everything. Before that, you're just casually, looking around and watching everything, and writing and cheating and all of that. So this is very much like that. So when Saturn comes into your fourth house over your moon, it happens that you are not at all in your comfortable zone right now. Even if you are in your comfortable zone, you are going to criticize yourself for being comfortable. So it's like, it's a very uneasy space to be in. And since Saturn, wherever it goes, it actually makes that particular area cold. It actually freezes that area in a way. So that's why it is going to start giving you instances where you are going to start feeling cold hearted. You might not care much about the circumstances. You're going to become very, very practical in with your mindset and also with your emotions. You're no longer going to just interact with the surroundings or take emotional decisions in your life. Now your decisions are going to be backed up by practicality. So people can feel that you are being very distant, you're being very, non-adjustable, you're being very cold, you're being very rude to other individuals. But it's just that the circumstances in your life are going to develop in that way that it is going to make you like that. But of course, when Saturn travels into the fourth house, even if it is over moon, what it does is it is going to activate renovation in your home, or at least it would give you, it can give you renovation, it can give you purchase of a vehicle or convenience product, or it can even give you the opportunity of buying a home or property. So definitely something related to home or something related to fixed assets would come around. Then the Saturn's aspect is going to come over the 10th house. That's why there is going to be recognition within your career. But it's like it is all good on the career front, but internally you're just dissatisfied. You just feel that dissatisfaction. You would feel that mood swings, that higher level of mood swings. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're so sad that you just want to isolate yourself. You don't want to talk to anyone. So that's what Saturn transit in the fourth house over your moon would do. Because, with moon just in the fourth house, you are a happy go lucky person. You're a person who gives that warmth even by communicating. You just give that warmth to everyone around you. And you're so naive of a person, so happy person that you just want to spread that happiness. But when Saturn comes there, that is your turning point. That is the point when you would feel that I'm not myself anymore, and I need to suppress this particular nature of myself, because now I need to grow up, I need to mature myself. So some situation in your life would come around that always that is dependent on your Vimshottari Dasha, that what situation is going to arise because of which you are going to turn into a cold and closed individual, right? And definitely with the fourth house Saturn, its fourth house Saturn is like a scarlet letter. It's good and it's bad. It's good because you will get things that you desire, right? But definitely, since the 10th aspect goes into the first house, since the 7th aspect goes into the 10th house, and the third aspect, the negative aspect of Saturn, goes into the 6th house. See, there is support from the government, there is support from the society, but definitely you would have to work on your health, because 10th aspect on the first house, third aspect on the 6th house. See, that means that you need to make efforts towards these two houses, and these are the houses of your health. your well-being. So you will have to be into routine, and that is actually going to be the most difficult thing for you to do, because this Saturn also activates lethargicness within a person. Because Saturn is that soul which will actually, that do you see those depressed individuals who just don't find the urge to do anything? They just are lying on their bed and they're just feeling so depressed that they just don't want to move. This Saturn is going to make you into that individual for some time, not forever, not for the whole 2.5 years, but for some time. Okay. Now, the last phase of the Sade Sati for the people with moon in the fourth house. So the last phase is going to be when Saturn comes into your fifth house. So when Saturn travels into the fifth house, it is the house of romance. But it does actually activates romance, but it activates romance not in a very lovey-dovey manner, but in a very practical manner, right? You will be into a romantic encounter, but that can actually be more stable. That can be more towards a long-term thing. So it can initiate marriage. It can initiate childbirth for an individual also. See, when there is someone with a fourth house moon and Saturn travels over that moon, they can actually conceive. So if you're a female, you can conceive at that point of time. But if you're a male, then you need to wait for your Saturn to come into the fifth house and activate the fifth house, because that's for the males to start that conception process. So it is the initiation of that process. So it is going to activate the romance. First thing, and first and very foremost, and a very important thing that it is going to do is it is going to make you dive into speculative businesses. Speculation. So it is what? Shares, right? Shares, investments. It's not typically crypto, I would say, because for that you need the activation of the eighth house as well. But you know what? Since it is second from the moon, if Saturn would have come into your fifth house as a transit, it would have activated all of these things. But since now it is coming second from the moon, then it will definitely give you gains. Otherwise, whenever Saturn comes into the fifth house, we do not suggest people to invest into shares, in investments. But when it is coming second from the moon, it is going to give you gains. But again, no greedy investments. No greed should be attached to it. No unfair malpractices should be attached to it. If you have that inside you that you are going to earn nicely, you're going to earn in a fair manner, this Saturn is going to give you immense gains. Remember. And also in this house is the house of children. So if you already have children, there could be some significant event that is going to happen with your children. And for that, you might, from that, you can actually gain money. You either have to spend money there, but in order to gain money out of that situation. Okay. And then the fifth house also will make you dive deeper into knowledge, because fifth house is the house of education. So it is going to make you dive into maybe studies of shares, and it could also give you an opportunity to teach other people. So when it is going to come into the fifth house, the seventh aspect is actually on the 11th house. So it is about recognition. So the last phase for people with the fourth house moon is actually good, unless there are some planets which are opposite to the energy of Saturn. Then only the results are going to be good, but the process can be a little troubling. Why? Because see, if a room is already full and you are entering into that room, you are going to feel a little bit of energy in your surroundings. You're going to grab those energies, right? But if there is no one in the room, you would not even care about, setting up your tie or thinking of your looks. If no one is there, you'll be very comfortable. So that's with the planets only, right? So that's how you need to see that. When Saturn comes into the fifth house, And then what it is going to activate, if suppose you are still studying, you are into, education, then it can start your education, but with a delay. For some time you have to take stop, or even suppose if you are working already and you want to pursue something as your higher studies, this time will actually make you do that. So this will allow you to take a pause from your career and then start with something education related to educating yourself, and then starting over again. So this also gives this type of situation. Now the third aspect of Saturn from this house comes over your seventh house. So that means there has to be a lot of efforts that are to be made towards marriage. So you would definitely get situations for marriage, but definitely you'll have to work hard towards, grabbing those opportunities, towards making that particular union go towards marriage. For this time, Saturn actually afflicts one's intelligence in the fifth house. Why? Because it is the original domain of Leo, and this is an anti sign to Saturn. So that's why here Saturn can actually, unlike of its own personality, it can act differently. It can be a little show offy. You may feel that you have to show off to impress others. It can be your knowledge, it can be your finances, it can be your personality. But the neediness of getting people's attention, because Saturn is not a planet who wants the attention, but the sign of Leo is that. When Saturn comes into that, it's like very uncomfortably you are asking for attention. So that is going to be the situation that is going to arise. Third aspect on the seventh house, efforts, courage towards the marriage. And now marriage is not going to, go nicely on its own. You have to make efforts towards it. Recognition through the society, definitely. And the 10th aspect is going to be on the second house. So working hard towards balancing your income and finances. So this time, the 10th aspect on the second house, you'll have to work hard towards the second house matters. So whenever Saturn comes into the fifth house, be disciplined of your knowledge, be disciplined of your investments, of your money. If, try to put some amount of your money into investments and do that regularly. Don't do that all at once. Do that regularly. Okay, when Saturn is going to transit in the fourth house, I forgot to tell about that. When it is going to transit in the fourth house, then you'll have to be very systematic with your routine and with your home, your inner space, your commitments. When you are going to say that I am going to do something on this particular date, do it on that particular date. Then only the Sade Sati is going to help you excel towards a better future. Okay, so comparatively for the other moons, for the moon in the 12th house, first house, second house, third house, the people with the fourth house moon actually get a better Sadasati. It's irrespective of the sign, but they get a very, less troubling Sadasati. So definitely with the fourth house moon, you can actually yield, you can take out very much good results of your Sadasati. It's just some things you need to you need to take care of, right? But ultimately it works towards your growth. I'm not saying that it is going to be very easy, but definitely it is going to grow you as a person. It is going to transform you for a better you in the future. Okay, guys. So this was my analysis about, Saturn transit or Sadasati for people who have moon in the fourth house. So if you guys are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And if you guys would like to have your personal readings, you can check out the link below, www.anmollastrology.com. And under the reading section, you can book a personal reading for yourself. Under unique reading section, you can book a unique reading for yourself. So right now, I am actually ongoing some discounts on my website. So you can check it out. It's like a discount which was never before. So you can check that out. See you in the next video. Bye-bye. Take care.